If you were making $200,000 a year profit from your MSP, how fast do you think you could lose it all? I'm about to show you the exact moment that one MSP owner killed his entire business. Then you'll find out how to stop it happening to you and actually generate more profit. Before we get to that, let's meet an MSP owner who avoided that fate. Meet Mike. He's doing well. Business is good. Has lots of family time. Plays poker with the boys at the weekend. And there's one thing he does he absolutely loves. It's the thing that helps when work gets crazy. Traveling with his family. He can do it several times a year because he trusts his team to run things while he's away. But back to that MSP owner who killed his entire business. Well, there's one more person in this story that we have to meet. His name is also Mike. His business is struggling. He doesn't have time for poker nights and exploring. He spends every second of every day doing all he can to keep his MSP going. Yes, it's the same guy. So what was the enormous, life-altering choice that Mike made? Which single decision set him on a course for either success or failure? We're faced with thousands of options every day. What shirt should I wear? Should I respond to that email I've been ignoring? Should I have my usual flat white or go for an iced vanilla caramel latte? If you're anything like me, you'll know pretty quickly if you've made the wrong decision. But Mike, he didn't have a clue. Let's go further back. Mike's business grew well initially. He took his years of experience working in IT and built a loyal customer base. Mike loves his work and values the relationships he makes when helping clients. But 5 years after starting the business, growth has slowed, although somehow he seems to be working longer hours. To make matters worse, Mike's wife has finally given him an ultimatum. Reduce your hours and spend more time with your family or, well, you know. Mike's stressed and caught between a rock and a hard place. The stability of a regular, predictable income would ease the stress, meaning he could relax and reduce his hours. Deep down, he knows the right thing to do is move his clients away from the break-fix model and onto managed service contracts. Although he'd also be able to better serve them, Mike worries that his customers won't be happy paying him every month. This is a real dilemma faced by many MSPs. Perhaps you've even been in this position, and you'll understand Mike's desire to move his customers to monthly payments, but also his fear of driving them away. If he makes the wrong decision, Mike could kill his business, meaning having to lay off his small team and risk hurting his family even more. But this is an unexpected turnaround. Some of Mike's customers actually do opt in to his new structure and sign monthly recurring revenue contracts. This feels like proper progress. He's now able to better plan his resources, start to reduce his hours, and have more time to think about growing his business. So, everything's worked out, right? Mike's business is moving forward, he's feeling better about his home life, so it wasn't a business-killing decision. Well, no. Despite Mike's new focus, it could all still collapse around him like a house of cards. And it will. At a poker game. Mike enjoys his regular poker nights, catching up with his buddies Dan and Brian and talking about anything other than work. But surely as night follows day and four of a kind beats a flush, conversation turns to work. Mike lays his cards on the table. He's feeling euphoric and conflicted at the same time. He's just landed a massive managed services client, and today they finally agreed an initial 12-month contract. This would be Mike's biggest deal ever. But accepting this contract would mean he just wouldn't have the resources to support as many of his break-fix customers. He hates the thought of letting people down or even turning work away. What would you do? Would you take this managed service contract, even if it was only guaranteed for a year? Mike had known Dan for years. He trusted him and valued his advice, even if he didn't always agree with it. Dan tells Mike to go all in on his managed clients. It's like David Bowie, Dan continues. At the absolute height of his Ziggy Stardust success, he totally reinvented himself and just kept racking up the hits. Sure, he might have lost a few of the Ziggy fans, but plenty went with him and he picked up millions more along the way. If he'd stuck it out as Ziggy, churning out the same material for another 20 years, do you really think he'd have been half the success he was? Brian can't believe what he's hearing from Dan and chips in. Shiny and new isn't always better, he says, and customer loyalty is worth more than a glorified insurance policy. Brian tells Mike that his own customers travel huge distances to bring their classic cars to him for repairs and servicing because they know him and they trust him. He'd turned down service contract work for a massive lease hire company, even though it offered more financial stability, because he couldn't bear the thought of letting down his customers. Time for Mike to up the ante. Does he go all in on managed services or hedge his bets and stick with break fix? He doesn't know it, but within 24 hours of this poker game, Mike's fortunes will change forever. The next morning, Mike signs contracts with the company. He's certain that he's made the right decision. Mike spends the next couple of weeks explaining to his remaining break fix customers that he'll no longer be able to support them as he had been, but would love to retain them on a managed service basis. About 2/3 of his customers decide not to continue their relationship with Mike. He's concerned about losing their business, but he's sure it's the right thing to do. Another positive, Mike is now focused on finding and developing much bigger prospects. It takes some time to win clients, but when he does, the revenue is consistent and he can make better investment decisions. His MSP quickly grows, allowing him to take on more staff, which frees him up to focus on growing the business. And it gives him more time for the important stuff. But wait, let's rewind. That Mike made the difficult decision to pivot away from his core break fix business. But what would have happened if he'd gone the other way? The morning after the poker game, Mike tells his new client he can't sign that contract after all. He's certain that he's made the right decision. Mike's fledgling business slowly starts to wither as other MSPs spring up around him and poach his clients. All businesses get to a point where break fix is no longer attractive, and they see the benefit of managed services that take the stress and confusion out of technology. Mike tries to make up some of the losses by taking on additional break fix work, which he has to do himself. He enters boom and bust, where he either has too much work or not enough. Mike has killed off his route to growth and killed his business in the process. 12 months later, Mike and his wife sit down for that very difficult conversation. The decision Mike had to make is a decision that thousands of MSPs like you have had to make. Some will choose the safe route and stick with what they know, but break fix is not a robust business model, not anymore. So which Mike are you? The businesses that survive and thrive are the ones that do two things. Firstly, they make the best of the hand they're dealt and go hard after the managed services clients. And secondly, they're constantly learning about strategies and tactics like this one to grow and market their business. Let me know what this story meant to you in the comments. And if you're on the path to growth, hit subscribe for more ideas that could help transform your life and your MSP.